Welcome learners to this video lecture on political issues before independence and the role of Indian press. Myself Manisha Upadhyay, Assistant Professor, Department of Journalism and Mass Communication, Mangalathan University. India's journey to independence was marked by numerous challenges and struggles, with the Indian press playing a crucial role in shaping public opinion and promoting the cause of freedom. In this lecture, we will explore the major political issues faced by India before independence and delve into the significant role played by the Indian press in fostering nationalism and the struggle for freedom. Before independence, India faced several critical political issues such as British colonial rule, economic exploitation, social inequalities, and cultural suppressions. And you can say the British Raj introduced policies that favored their interests, leading to widespread discontent and resistance among the Indian population. Indian leaders emerged to address these issues and sought to unify the nation in its fight for independence. We cover some objectives of this topic, promoting unity and nationalism. Before independence, one of primary objectives of political leaders was to foster a sense of unity and nationalism. Among the diverse population of India, the Indian press played a crucial role in achieving this objective by disseminating information about the struggle for independence, highlighting the common goal of freedom and promoting a shared identify as Indians. Newspapers and publications played a vital role in unifying the masses and inspiring them to join the freedom movement. Next one is raising awareness and mobilization. Another important objective of the political leaders before independence was to raise awareness about the unjust and oppressive policies of the British colonial rule. The Indian press played a critical role in this aspect by reporting on various issues, including social, economic, and political problems faced by the people under colonial rule. Newspapers and magazines became a platform to mobilize public opinion against British imperialism and to call for collective action to achieve independence. Next, press freedom and censorship. In this topic, this is the objective for press. Ensuring press freedom and fighting against censorship were significant objectives for the Indian people leaders before independence. The British colonial government often imposed strict censorship on the Indian press to control the narrative and suppress dissenting voices. In response, the Indian press vigorously campaigned for the right to free expression and worked towards creating a space for independent journalism. Newspapers, through their editorials and articles, advocated for press freedom as an essential component of a democratic society. Uh, Last objective of this topic is that countering propaganda and disinformation. The British colonial administration frequently used propaganda and disinformation to weaken the nationalist movement and divide the Indian population. One of the crucial objectives of the Indian press was to counter such propaganda by providing accurate and credible information to the public. Newspapers and media outlets worked tirelessly to debunk false narratives expose colonial propaganda, and present the truth to the Indian masses. In introductory part, India India's journey towards independence was marked by various political challenges and obstacles that significantly shaped the course of history. During this period, the Indian press played a crucial role in mobilizing public opinion, spreading awareness, and advocating for freedom and self governance. So, in this lecture, we will explore the key political issues that India faced before gaining independence, and we will delve into the significant contributions of the Indian press in the struggle for freedom. First of all, we discuss the role of Indian press. Factual reporting. The Indian press played a critical role in reporting news accurately and objectively. They strived to present facts without bias, allowing readers to form informed opinions. Advocacy for democracy and freedom. In this point, Indian newspapers advocated for democratic principles, individual freedoms, and the rule of law. They emphasize the importance of a free and responsible press as a pillar of democracy. They play their role in facilitating dialogue. The Indian press provided a platform for diverse voices and opinions. They encouraged open discussions on political issues, allowing readers to engage in constructive debates, and they also promoting non-violence. In line with the principles of Mahatma Gandhi, the Indian press actively promoted non-violence as a means to achieve independence. They discouraged any form of violence and encouraged peaceful protests and civil disobedience. The Indian press played a vital role in shaping public opinion, raising awareness and about political issues, and fostering a sense of unity and nationalism among the people, contributing significantly to the struggle for India's independence. We look into the pre-independence political landscape. The pre-independence political landscape of many countries was a time of significant change, struggle, and resistance against colonial powers. This era marked the beginning of movements for freedom, democracy, and self governance as a nation sought to break free from the shackles of colonial rule and assert their own identity. Throughout this period, colonial powers from Europe had established dominion over vast territories across Asia, Africa, and other parts of the world. Political landscape was characterized by a stark dichotomy between the ruling colonial authorities and the indigenous populations who sought liberation. Colonial powers often employed oppressive policies and exploited local resources, leading to widespread discontent among the native populations. In response to the colonial rule, various movements emerged advocating for independence, civil rights, and national sovereignty. These movements took different forms in different regions, uh, encompassing a wide range of ideologies and strategies. Some movements opted for non-violent methods led by figures like Mahatma Gandhi in India, who advocated for civil disobedience, passive resistance, and peaceful protests. Meanwhile, in other parts of world, armed resistance and revolutionary movements gained
action to challenge colonial rule.
Intellectuals, scholars, and political leaders played a crucial role in shaping the discourse of these independence movements. They spread ideas of nationalism, equality, and liberty, fostering a sense of pride in one's heritage and culture. Political organizations and parties were formed to rally people behind the cause of independence and to articulate their demands for self determination.
Pre-independence era also saw the rise of Pan-America and Pan-Asian ideologies, which aimed to forge solidarity among various oppressed nations against colonial domination. These movements sought to foster a collective identity and foster cooperation to challenge colonial powers on a broader scale. Despite facing numerous challenges and setbacks, the pre independence political landscape laid the foundation for the eventual decolonization of many nations. The struggle for independence cultivated a spirit of unity and resilience among the people, propelling them forward in their quest for freedom. It has also paved the way for the establishment of democratic institutions and governance structures that continue to shape these nations' political trajectories. As we look back at this critical chapter in history, we recognize the courage, sacrifice, and determination of those who fought for freedom and self rule. The legacy of the pre independence era remains a testament to the power of collective action and the unwavering pursuit of liberty and justice. Now we discuss about the establishment of British colonial rule in India. The establishment of British colonial rule in India was a pivotal historical event that spanned several centuries. It began with the arrival of the British East India Company in the early 17th century, initially seeking trading opportunities. East India Company, came to India for the trading work. However, over time, the company gradually expanded its presence and influence across the Indian subcontinent. The Battle of Plassey in 1757 marked a significant turning point when the British decisively defeated the Nawab of Bengal, granting them substantial control over Bengal. This victory paved the way for subsequent territorial acquisitions, alliances, and annexations through wars and treaties with the various Indian princely states. British Crown took direct control over India, turning it into the jewel in the crown of the British Empire. The period of British colonial rule profoundly impacted India's history, culture, economy, and politics, leaving a lasting legacy that continues to shape the country's development even after independence in 1947. The revolt of 1857 and its significance. This is the first war with British by the Indians. The revolt of 1857, also known as the Indian Rebellion or the First War of Independence, was a watershed moment in the history of India's struggle for independence from British colonial rule. It erupted as a massive uprising against British dominance and oppressive policies. The revolt began with the sepoys, Indian soldiers of the British East India Company, but it quickly spread to encompass various sections of Indian society, including peasants, zamindars, and artisans. The significance of the revolt of 1857 lies in its transformative impact on India's political landscape, although the rebellion was eventually suppressed by the British. It marked the beginning of a unified Indian national consciousness and the emergence of a collective resistance against colonial rule. It exposed the exploitative nature of British imperial policies, leading to major changes in the administration of India. The British Crown took direct control from the East India Company, and policies were subsequently revised to accommodate some Indian interests. Moreover, the revolt had far reaching consequences in terms of ideological, social, and cultural developments. It inspired future generations of freedom fighters and nationalists to continue the struggle for independence. The revolt also fosters a sense of unity among diverse Indian communities, transcending religious and regional differences as they joined hands to challenge a common oppressor. This sense of nationalism became a crucial factor in India's eventual march towards independence in the 20th century. In short, we can say the revolt of 1857 was a turning point in India's quest for freedom, igniting the spirit of nationalism and laying the foundation for the eventual liberation from British colonial rule. Its memory remains etched in the annals of Indian history as a symbol of bravery, resilience, and the collective will of a nation to reclaim its sovereignty and self determination. We talk about pre-independence of India, we should be no moderates and extremists. First of all, the rise of Indian nationalism during the late 19th and early 20th centuries was characterized by the emergence of two prominent functions, the moderates and the extremists. Both groups played vital roles in the struggle for India's independence from British colonial rule. First of all, we discuss about moderates. The moderates were a group of early nationalist leaders who adopted a moderate and cautious approach towards the demand for self-rule. They believed in a constitutional method and wanted to achieve their objectives through dialogue and peaceful means. Key figures among the moderates included Dadabhai Naoroji, Gopal Krishna Gokhale, and Firoz Shah Mehta. And what is the demand of these moderates? Number one is increased representation for Indians in the civil services and legislative bodies. And second one is reforms in the administration and reduction of the economic drain in on India. And third one is social and educational reforms to uplift Indian society. They also aimed to create awareness about Indian issues with the British Parliament. The moderates organized the Indian National Congress, in short, INC, and used it as a platform to voice their demands and grievances. Their methods were less confrontational The moderates laid the foundation for future nationalist movements. Now we discuss extremists. The extremists, also known as the militant nationalists, emerged in response to the show progress of moderates' demands and growing dissatisfaction with the British policies. The extremists took a more radical approach, emphasizing the need for direct action, boycotts, and non cooperation to achieve independence. Key activist leaders included Bal Gangadhar Tilak, Bipin Chandra Pal, and Lala Lajpat Roy. They believed that British colonialism would only respond to forceful opposition and assertive demands. The extremists called for complete self rule, means Swaraj, and were critical of the British administration's exploitative policies. They advocated for mass mobilization, use of traditional symbols and practices, and a more assertive nationalist agenda, boycotts of British goods and institutions, as well as civil disobedience, were some of the means employed by the extremists to challenge British authority. There is a division between moderates and extremists. While both the moderates and the extremists had the common goal of Indian independence, they differed significantly in their strategies and intensity. The moderates believed in the importance of working within the British constitutional framework and sought reforms gradually, while the extremists were willing to take more radical and confrontational measures to achieve their objectives. Over time, the extremist movement gained momentum and influenced the course of India's struggle for freedom. Partition of Bengal in 1905 was a turning point that galvanized both functions, leading to a united front against British policies. The rise of Indian nationalism was a multifaceted movement with two prominent strands, the moderates' caution approach and the extremist radical stance. Together, they played critical roles in shaping the course of India's journey towards independence, eventually leading to the country's freedom in 1947. For formation of Indian National Congress and its objectives. The formation of the Indian National Congress marked a significant milestone in the history of India's struggle for independence from British colonial rule. The INC, means Indian National Congress, was founded on December 28, 1885, during a time when India was facing socio-economic and political challenges under British colonial rule. The Indian National Congress was a product of the efforts of prominent leaders and intellectuals of the time, including uh, Alan Octavian Hume, Dadabhai Naoroji, Dinshaw Vacha, and Vomesh Chandar Banerjee. It emerged as a platform to foster unity among the diverse communities and regions of India and to address the issues faced by the people under British rule. The primary objectives of the Indian National Congress um, is that national unity, one of the main objectives of the NIC. One of the main objectives of Indian National Congress was to foster a sense of national unity among Indians transcending regional, linguistic, and religious differences. The leaders believed that united India could present a stronger front against British colonialism. Next one is self government. the Indian National Congress sought to promote the idea of self government or Swaraj, where Indians would have a right to govern themselves and shape their own destiny without interference from the British rulers. Civil rights and social reforms. The Indian National Congress aimed to advocate for civil rights and social reforms to address issues such as discrimination, caste system, and gender inequality prevalent in Indian society at the time. Economic development. The Congress leaders emphasized the need for economic development and welfare of the Indian population. They sought to promote indigenous industries and alleviate poverty. Representation. The Indian National Congress demanded greater representation for Indians in the decision making process of the British government in India. They wanted more Indians to be appointed to important administrative positions. Peaceful protest. In its early years, the Indian National Congress focused on constitutional and peaceful means of protest to voice their grievances and demands. The leaders believed in non-violent civil obedience as a way to achieve their objectives. So, over the years, the Indian National Congress evolved as the primary political organization leading the Indian independence movement. It played a crucial role in mobilizing people from various backgrounds and initiating campaigns and movements against British rule. As India's oldest and most prominent political party, the Indian National Congress continues to be an influential force in Indian politics, advocating for secularism, democracy, and social justice. Though the Indian National Congress has faced various challenges and ideological shifts over the years, its historical significance as a key players in India's struggle for independence remains unparalleled. Now discuss about the Indian press and its role before independence. During the pre-independence era, the Indian press played a crucial role in shaping public opinion and driving the movement for freedom and political change. Despite the limitations imposed by colonial rule, newspapers and journals emerged as powerful platforms for expressing dissent, advocating for civil rights, and railing support for the Indian nationalist cause. Key figures in journalism like Bal Gangadhar Tilak, Bipin Chandra Pal, and Dadabhai Naoroji used their newspapers such as Kesari, Bande Mataram, and the Indian Mirror, respectively, to vehemently critique British policies, expose injustices, and promote the idea of self rule. The Indian press acted as a beacon of hope, enlightening the masses about the importance of unity and a national identity, while also providing a means to disseminate revolutionary ideas and strategies. These publications inspired numerous political leaders, intellectuals, and common people to participate actively in the freedom struggle, leading to widespread awareness and mobilization against British colonial rule. The press acted as a watchdog, highlighting political issues, social disparities, and economic hardships faced by the Indian populace under British rule. It held the colonial administration accountable and gave a voice to those who were marginalized or suppressed. The newspapers also helped bridge regional divides by connecting people across the vast landscape of India, fostering a sense of shared struggle and collective aspirations. The Indian press of the pre-independence era played a important role in improving political issues by instilling a sense of national pride, propagating the idea of self-governance, and facilitating a robust discourse on social and political challenges. It laid the foundation for a united, independent India and contributed significantly to the eventual success of the freedom movement. The press as a platform for political debates and discussion. Before India gained independence in 1947, the press played a crucial role as a platform for political debates and discussions. During this period, the Indian media served as a powerful vehicle for expressing dissent, advocating for freedom, and railing support for various political ideologies. Newspapers and journals emerged as potent tools for disseminating ideas, educating the masses, and shaping public opinion. Prominent leaders like Mahatma Gandhi, Jawaharlal Nehru, and Subhash Chandra Bose utilized the press extensively to promote their visions for a free and independent India. They used newspapers to communicate their messages, voice grievances against colonial rule, and call for unity among the Indian populace. The press acted as a medium to bridge the gap between leaders and the masses, mobilizing public sentiments and sparking nationalistic favor. Various political parties and organizations use newspaper as a better ground to engage in spirited debates, articulate their policies, and challenge opposing viewpoints. Different newspapers often aligned with the specific political ideologies, leading to vibrant exchanges of ideas and opinions, and that enriched the political discourse. Despite facing censorship and repression from the British colonial authorities, the press remained resilient and continued to play a pivotal role in fostering political consciousness among Indians. The exchange of ideas through the press significantly contributed to shaping the country's collective aspirations for self governance and ultimately its journey towards independence. The press historical significance as a platform for political debates and discussion during pre-independence India remains a testament to its enduring influence on the country's socio-political landscape. Now we are talk about the role in national awakening. The National Awakening, also known as the nationalist movement, refers to a significant period of political, cultural, and social resurgence in many countries seeking to assert their identity and independence during the late 19th and early 20th century. During this time, individuals played uh, crucial roles in inspiring the and mobilizing their fellow countrymen towards a common goal of national liberation and self-determination. Intellectuals, writers, and activists emerge as influential figures, articulating a shared sense of historical heritage and advocating for cultural pride. Through their writings, speeches, and organizational efforts, they ignited a collective consciousness, fostering a deep sense of nationalism and unity among the people. Their tireless endeavors led to the formation of nationalist movements, which eventually led to the dismantling of colonial rule and the establishment of sovereign states. The important role played, they played the pivotal role. why these visionaries during the national awakening laid the foundation for the emergence of modern nation states, fostering a sense of pride, identity, and independence that endures to this day.
In concluding part, we can say that the political issues that India faced before independence were numerous and complex, demanding unwavering determination and unity among its people. The Indian press emerged as a powerful medium, voicing the aspirations of the masses and campaigning the cause of freedom, its role in spreading awareness, mobilizing public opinion, and challenging oppressive colonial policies was instrumental in India's path towards independence. As we reflect on this historical journey, let us remember the sacrifices and contributions of those who fought for India's freedom and recognize the significance of a free and responsible press in shaping a nation's destiny. The legacy of the Indian press continues to inspire and remind us of the critical role media plays in upholding democracy and fostering a just and inclusive society. So, learners, thank you for joining me in this enlightening discussion. Goodbye and good day.